Hello, welcome. In this video, you'll be learning everything HTML. HTML, what HTML is, what HTML is used for, and other things about HTML. So, what is HTML? HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages. For example, I'm going to use a human to make this illustration. Now, when you look at a human being, in this context, a human being is made up of three things. The first one is the skeletal, the second one is the skin that covers the skeletal, and the third one is what the human being is able to do, walking from one place to the other, eating, drinking, and any kind of action at all. So when you bring it down to a website has a structure, which is a skeletal. A website has a skin, which is the designs, and a website can have actions, which is the action too, just like I illustrated using a human. So, what is the HTML when we talk about website development? HTML is used to make the structure of a web page. It is used to make the structure of a web page. That's what HTML is solely responsible for. Now, when you make a website, the structure, you tend to make design to make it look good. Just like when you look at a human being, when you remove the skeleton looks ugly. So same also with a website. A website without CSS or JavaScript will look ugly. So the HTML basically is used to make the structure of a website. Then subsequently we'll learn CSS. CSS is used to make just like the skin. So it's used to add designs and color to make the font um, bold or anyhow you want to make it. For example, you can see the design in this screen. You see green color, you see white colors, um, you see so many designs. You see some text that are bigger than the others. So CSS is responsible for all this. So in this video, we'll be learning HTML in a Nigerian context, in a Nigerian development. So having said this, we'll be using an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. That's what you use in creating, it's a software we use in creating a web page. We have different type of IDE. We have VS Code, we have Atom, we have Sublime, and the rest. But I normally use VS Code. And here, when you go to their website, code.visualstudio.com, you see a link to download VS Code. So when you are done downloading, you install the VS Code. After installing the VS Code, you open it. Like I have installed my own, and this is it. So I'm just going to delete this and show you how I arrived here. So I created a sheet, a HTML sheet through which I'll write my first website. Now, if you want to create it, you go to File. Now, when you click on File, you go to New File. When you click on New File, you'll be able to write the name of the file, but with an HTML extension. For example, my own is index.html. Index.html. So anytime you're writing on HTML or you're writing about with HTML, it must have an HTML extension. It must have HTML extension. But the preceding name, you can use any name for it. Like I use index.html, you can use phone.html, name.html, contact.html, email.html, anything at all. But conventionally, it is advisable to always use index.html to start. Maybe subsequently, you can, inside the same project, you can now use other names with the same HTML extension to make other HTML pages. But for hosting your site when it's ready, it is always advisable you start with index.html to write your first web page. So this is just a brief overview and introduction to HTML. So in these videos, like I say, subsequently, we'll be using W3 Schools. This is the resource I use in learning. So I'm just using it to teach also. And when you go to the website, you see some of these, you click on HTML, you see the course content. There is introduction, which I have done. There is editor, there is basics, elements, attribute, and the like. So we'll take them one after the other and see how we can be able to uh, get them, understand them, and be able to use them to create our first web pages.